let the new project commence. Unfortunately, I've done a bunch of work to this and did not film it already. Had one job, skipped that job. So, what are we doing? We've got a Jaguar E-Type 2+2. We had gutted it, cut the roof off, started widening it, going to shorten it to a wheelbase of 96 inches, and then off of this butt, we're going to build an aluminium Jaguar LINDER NÖCKER. So where we'll be building, Custom will be supplying the whole front half, sills. All we'll be doing is the roof and the back section, along with those openings, doors, windows. Doors. What am I going to be doing for doors? We're going to be using the original Jaguar E-Type 2+2 doors, but only the inner structures. Then once we've got them on, shortened and flowing, we're going to skin them in an aluminium shell. As you can see, we already have a buck that is assembled. So we'll throw in a bit of a time lapse. You can see, didn't get much because it's a real mare to do. But I'll give a quick brief explanation of my procedures to assemble the buck. So a lot of people like to glue it piece by piece, but I don't like going about that way, because then if you make an error in the back of the buck, when it comes to the front, you're 1 millimeter out there. By the time that sheet reaches here, you, 20, 30, 40 mils out. That compound error with such a distance is just ridiculous. And if you don't have loose panels that you can fit and manipulate and move to fit, then you're in a problem. You're in a real predicament. So what I did is assembled 80% of it completely loose. No nails, no glue, no clamps, no fasteners, nothing. I just slotted them in, locked them into place, and pushed them so that they're not going to move easily, but they have movement. From there, I went and lined all of them up how I wanted, where I wanted, and then started fastening. No glue, just fastening with a nail gun. Bam, 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 bam. Not going to put glue, just nailing it for now. So we're left with a complete buck that's been assembled, not glued together, just nailed. What is a buck? Why do we use it? What's it built from? Here's the details. So, this is a wooden buck. It's built from 9mm thick marine ply. What's the purpose of it? The purpose is to give us the shape of the car. How do we read it? Well, you just make sure that your aluminium is touching all these slats. And then in between the slats, the good old trusty eye. You just have to look and make sure that there's no lows. Highs we don't worry about because we make sure it's not high. How do we build sheet metal or aluminium from a wooden buck? What I do is I'll make a paper template, then start shaping the metal. But I'll make external gauges that sit on top of every single one of these pieces of wood that just sit perfectly on line, perfectly on line. Then I know, I start shaping my panel. Instead of coming and putting my panel on the buck and trying to look underneath and see where it's touching or not, I can just have a loose aluminium strip, lightweight, easy to work with, that I put on top of my panel and we see, is that the shape? No, yes. Does it need more shape? However the panel's sitting. Then, what we want to do and pay attention to is the panel must touch all the wood, but to start, we make sure that in between the wood slats is not our highest point. That way we can go and make sure that the panel flows and has no highs and lows. So if we have a bit of a low in between the wood to begin with, that's not a problem. Once we go and have it touching everywhere else, we can just go with our eye and see, does the light dip or what? We can even put a sweep across and see, hey, that's low. We wheel it up, we hammer it up a bit. Why I don't like wooden bucks, there's a lot that's left to guesstimating. So here we know our door opening, here's 1 point, 1 point, 1 point, 1 point, 1 point. But what is the arc in between here? We don't know. There's no way that we can get it exact. So what I like to do is I'll bend 5mm round bar along here in the whole shape. Then I'll just clamp it to the wood itself, bolt it to the wood itself. That way we can see, before we even start the sheet metal, Does our 5mm rod flow? The whole thing with a wooden buck is you have to look the whole time. Is it in line? Is it flowing? Are there any waves in it? I find it a lot trickier to work from a wooden buck than a fiberglass. Because a fiberglass buck, you can just drill holes in, look from the backside, it tells you instantly, hey, I'm low, I'm high, that's where we're at. Gives you all your edges, you can just clamp it, you can hammer form. Whereas on a wooden buck, it's a mare, it's just a lot more time consuming. Here you can see, this is what I'll be doing around all my openings. So it's not the final product, still busy on it, just started. I'll have this, there we can see. I'm touching this point, I'm touching this point, and I'm touching those 3 points when I'm holding in position. That way we know, okay, cool, we've got one consistent radius with no highs, no lows, so we can see that that shape is 99% of what it should be. Is it exact compared to the 3D rendering or the model? We don't know, we'll never know. It would be nicer if there were more slats in between each one. We'd be able to tell what the arc of the radius is a lot easier, but we don't have that, so we just make sure that it's consistent and smooth and flowing. On to the next steps, where we at, what we're doing. The Jaguar, the monocoque. We are going to cut it today and shorten it to 96 inches. How are we going to do that? Just angle grinder, measuring, 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 measuring. Then, to ensure everything is going to be straight and in line, what I'm going to do is once it's in 2 halves, I'm going to shim the front, shim the back. I've got piles of these from 0.5 millimeter to 1 millimeter to 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all the way up to 12 millimeters. Going to be shimming the corners accordingly to get the body straight again. Then just measure, measure, measure. The reason I'm so confident in cutting and aligning this body again is we have this table here that it's sitting on. This table was built on a cast iron surface chassis table or like fastening jig. So it's perfectly in line. You can put a straight edge across it wherever you would like. And walla walla whip, it is sitting level. So this gives us an amazing place to mount our fixtures to shorten this, to measure from, to use a square from, put straight edges across this, whatever we need to measure, get this body straight and in line again. Okay, so I'm going to be starting by just cutting out the gearbox tunnel, putting that to the side because we're going to be shortening that and reusing it most likely, not 100% sure yet. And then once that's gone, onto the next one. Sills, shortening them, floor pans, and then lastly, the frame rails. Yeah, let's get to cutting. Dirty, dusty, and done. Zip cut. Yeah, we've got 2 loose halves now. So now we're still gonna have to do a bunch of filing, trimming, welding, measuring, measuring, measuring. And then once we finish that, just measure again some more. Then shim, 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 pack. But for now, all we're gonna do is separate the bodies and then do some work on the frame rails there so that it's a fissure joint. I think you call it a fissure joint. And they're gonna seat on top of each other and join like that, overlapping. Weld them, well, see, maybe make new frame rails. Once I'm under the car and can see neatly, we'll know and show you from there. Happy days! Boom, bam, shabam, wham bam, bling lang. Let's cut. We should be at 96 inches now. So started marking it up just to see, are we lining roughly? Yes, happy days we are. Pull the tape off, clean it, tack it in place. That's after we shim it all, get it square again. But yeah, happy days. We're there, we're almost there, we're on our way. We're gonna be there soon. Okie dokie, on to prepping for the weld. So all we want to do now is take off all the paint, all the, what do you call it, rubberizing underneath, make sure all the rust's cleaned out, and then from there, tack the whole thing together, then start welding little sections, planishing that weld, welding a little section, planishing that weld. The reason I'm using a little grinder and wire wheel, not very practical for this or grinding edges, but there's no power, so I can't use pneumatic tools at the moment. So just make do with what you got. It's going to give us the same result, just take a bunch longer. What I've done is, on the front half, I've kept the skin of the floor pan. And on the back half, I've kept the skin of your outer sills, inner sills, this section of the sills. So now, when I join them, that's going to just work as another point of reference for alignment. So it'll be overlapping, and then the inside is going to touch, and we're going to weld along that. And our weld line on the bottom will be offset to one side. Boom, boom, boom. We have trimmed, we have filed, we have pushed it together, measured, pulled it apart, filed some more, pushed it together, measured, pulled it apart, filed, so on, so forth. Now, hit it with some acetone, clean all the edges nice, and bazinga, weld it up, tack, planish, tack, planish, tack, planish, weld the whole thing, call it a done day and a short car. Levels, straight edges, tack welds, clamps, vice grips, tape. Yeah, the body is shortened, tacked together. Unfortunately, power's out and we've been using the generator, but that's reached its duty cycle, so that's done day. Yeah, next time you see this car, the body's going to be, the monocoque's going to be shortened to the length, finished 100%, welded, planished, cleaned up, and ready for the aluminium body.